waiver wire this past yesterday, you picked up Josh Adams, Dak Prescott. Tommy picked up Fitzmagic and Antonio Gates. Scotty picked up the Chiefs defense, the Chefs. Kevin picked up Jordan Thomas and the Redskins defense. I picked up that guy, Brandon Powell, and Brian got Derek Carr. I know you want to talk about your guys, so have at it.
Yeah, the Golden Domer. I don't know. I don't know what he is. They seem to like him. He was fourth on the depth chart coming into the season. I don't even think he dressed for the first few games. And Ajayi got hurt. Then Smallwood is kind of not any good, and maybe neither is Clement. And so he's just kind of getting an opportunity here. He was really good in college, averaged 6 yards a carry in college. Granted, behind a really good offensive line, but it's a good offense. And if they like him and they start slotting him in there, it could be a guy that I could find pretty useful down the stretch here with the running backs that I'm tasked to work with. So taking kind of a shot on him. I know I blew a little bit of a wad on him, but that's kind of what I tend to do anyway. So
yeah, you usually like to just blow your load on shots in the dark, but it's not a bad shot in the dark, and it's worked out for a couple of your guys in previous pickups. I think so. Let me go into Brandon Powell, just like what you said earlier, and how he was leading the team in receiving in the preseason. Undrafted free agent out of Florida. He was actually taken under Golden Tate's wing, and Golden Tate said that he's a more athletic Golden Tate. Golden Tate should get more credit than what he's been given throughout his career. He's a really, really good receiver. He catches pretty much all the balls that are thrown his way, and he's a machine after the catch. He gets a lot of yak, as the analysts like to say. I don't think Brandon Powell is going to, light up the league, but can he have maybe 2 games of where he actually puts up similar numbers to Golden Tate? I think so, because I don't think TJ Jones is really that good of a player. He wasn't even active in this past game. That might have had something to do with him not playing special teams, but I'm taking a shot in the dark, just like you are with Josh Adams, with Brandon Powell, so we'll see how that works out. And I think Tommy having Fitzmagic in there instead of Eli Manning, if Aaron Rodgers were to, get hurt or have a bad matchup, who knows? Maybe the wand still works. Anything else you want to say?
Not good.
Okay. Bye weeks. Timmy's missing T.Y. Hilton. The Beaties don't have Eric Ebron, Dede Westbrook, Corey Clement. Kevin doesn't have Saquon Barkley, A.J. Green, Alshon Jeffrey, Evan Ingram, and Wendell. He has a small wood. Brian doesn't have Carson Wentz. I'm missing Joe Mixon and Zach Ertz, along with Larry Fitzgerald. Nick doesn't have David Johnson and Jack Doyle. Jack Doyle. Sean doesn't have TJ Yeldon and OBJ. Tommy doesn't have Marlon Max, Ricky Seals-Jones, Sterling Shepard, your favorite player, Nelson Aguilar, and Eli Manning. You're missing your boy, Tyler Boyd, the Jags defense, and Dallas Goedert. And Scotty doesn't have Andrew Luck, Dante Moncrief, Christian Kirk, Naeem Hines, and Carlos Hyde. This is a big week when it comes to bye weeks. I think there's 6 teams that are on bye, so that's why it took me a half hour to go through all those names. Any player you think that's going to hurt more so than not?
Me missing Boyd is pretty significant because I got to keep winning, and he's been kind of a cog for me.
Key cog for you. But lucky for you, you're going against Scotty, and that's a nice segue into our Week 9 previews. So our top matchups, so that challenge with you and Scotty is not one of the top matchups. But the top matchups happen to be the Beaties versus Timmy. That's going to be a really good one. And then Kevin versus Brian. So we'll go into Timmy versus the Beaties first. You want to start this off?
Sure, I'll go right into it. Can you hear my screaming child? Not good. So let's see here. The Beaties, with their hammers at running back, Gurley and McCaffrey, both in fairly good matchups. I guess New Orleans is tough against the run, so not as good for Gurley, but McCaffrey should shred Tampa. Gronkowski again. Can he find a way to maybe get? He's due for like kind of a 2-touchdown game. Cooks and Diggs in games that should be positive game flows. Punches too, for that matter. And then Cousins gets a fairly weak Detroit secondary. So all around pretty good for the Beaties. Over on Timmy's side, there's that man again, Mitchell, the truth Trubisky, going up against kind of a tough Buffalo secondary. But I think that's probably more due to the fact that teams just blow them out and don't really have to throw. Kamara and Gordon, both questionable. Both, I assume, will play and in fairly good matchups given their situations. Thielen, Cooper Kupp also expected back this week. Like you said, this should be a pretty good one, very tight. I'm gonna go Timmy here in a real close one by 3-4 points.
I'm gonna go with the Beaties. I don't like to go with the Beaties. I would rather Timmy win, but I just think they have all the guys that they need in order to win this matchup. I don't think they have any of their key cogs on bye this week. They don't have any of their key cogs on bye. Tariq Cohen has a tough matchup. Alex Collins has a tough matchup. So maybe looking at this, fuck it. I'll go with Timmy, just because I don't want the Beaties to win. But I will say that the Beaties are the favorites in this matchup because of their top two running backs in Todd Gurley and Christian McCaffrey, but that's offset by Melvin Gordon and Alvin Kamara. You know what? This is a toss-up. I'm going Timmy, and that's all I have to say. That's analysis. That is analysis right there.
I thought you were going to go with the tie. I'm going to be very proud of you.
Yeah, well, I'm not here to impress you, dude. That was piss poor analysis, but I'm going to go with Timmy. The next matchup is Kevin versus Brian. This is just like what I was saying before about Brian having playoff implications on the league, not because his team's going to make it, but because he could help out other teams and hurt other teams. And in this matchup, I like Brian. I like Brian to he's not pulling off an upset because Kevin's missing a lot of his big guns. I mean, he's starting Michael Gallup. He's starting that guy, Jordan Thompson, the tight end on Houston. I don't think Chris Thompson is going to play because he's hurt. Trey Cannon, the third-string running back on the Jets, he's playing. He's got a lot of guys that shouldn't even sniff a starting lineup that he's starting. And Brian's got, he's got Chris Godwin and he's got Isaiah Crowell in there. Not great, but in this matchup, looks pretty damn great considering Trey Cannon is starting on Kevin's side. And then he's got his studs in Antonio Brown, Michael Thomas, Kareem Hunt that are playing. I think Derek Carr is going to have a good game tonight against San Francisco. I'm going to go Brian.
I'll agree with you. I'll go Brian. I don't think Carr is going to have a huge night. I think this game's going to be a little bit of a snoozer tonight, but we'll see. You outlined it. Matty, I'll go Matty this week. Matty's got some players in there that I know he does not want to be looking at in the starting lineup, but it's kind of what you're forced to do when you got 7 bye weeks going on. So I think Kareem Hunt has a huge day. I think Brown, Michael Thomas get it done for Brian, and like you said, guys like me certainly need it.
Yeah, considering the matchups that Brian has, he's got Kareem Hunt going against Cleveland. Well, a little foreshadowing. I might bring up that matchup later on. And then Michael Thomas against the Rams. That's going to be a high-scoring game. Jarvis Landry against the Chiefs. He's got a lot of positive matchups that are going his way with some really good players. So, yes, I like Brian. The limp dick matchup of the week is me versus Nick. Not because I don't think I'm going to perform well, but I don't think this is going to be a close game. Now, I say that, and when I faced Nick week 1 earlier this year, I only beat him by, I think, 15 points. He actually had a really good showing in week 1, but he doesn't have DJ this week, and his wide receiver core has somehow gotten worse. He doesn't have Jack Doyle. I think when Jack Doyle comes back, he's going to be a very positive player for Nick, but I just don't think he's got the ammunition to keep up with my team this week. Although I do have Zach Ertz and Joe Mixon out this week, I think the rest of my team is going to carry me between Adrian Peterson going against a awful Falcons offense, Julio Jones going against an average corner in Josh Norman. He's overrated. I like a couple. Josh Gordon going against the Packers. That's a good matchup, and also Latavius Murray going against Detroit. I have a couple good matchups on my side, so I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout, but I think my team can score 125 points and be okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely the favorite here. It's pretty obvious. But that said, there are some trickier matchups for you with James Conner. I think Julio going against an improved Washington secondary can be a little bit problematic, possibly. Same goes for Matt Ryan. So I think there's a potential here for maybe this to get a little tight. Being that my record is I'm already like 9 games back of you in these picks. I actually am going to take Nick. I think he's got some guys who could sneak up on you, and I need it to happen. So I'm going Nick here. Hopefully he gets the defense. I might have to remind him.
Every week that you haven't picked me since I think week 3, I've won. So keep it going.
Keep
it going.
Next.
The other 2 matchups are Tommy versus Sean and Doug versus Scott. So we'll go into Tommy versus Sean first. And Tommy is considered the favorite so far this week. There goes my boy Aaron Jones playing against New England this week, so that should be a high-scoring match. He should have some opportunities to perform well there. Robert Woods in another shootout going against New Orleans. Emmanuel Sanders gets a slight bump with Demaryius Thomas being gone. So does Marvin Jones getting a slight bump. So far, Tommy's got some good stuff on his side. Let's look at Scotty's side, or Shauno's side, and Tom Brady. So he's got his Patriot players that are in that shootout, which are James White, Tom Brady, and Julian Edelman. So those 3 players should do well. He's got Robbie Anderson in there, and I don't think he's going to play, so that's not a good start in more ways than one. And then he's got 2 of the Seattle Seahawks wide receivers in Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett in there. Don't like a couple of the players that he's starting. More times than not, I root for Shauno, but I'm going to go with Tommy in this matchup. What do you think?
I think if Shauno had a couple of his guys that are on bye, this is a completely different situation. If he had a Yeldon or a Beckham or a Tate, even just one of these guys could maybe set this lineup over the top. I think it could be a little close. I think Tommy's team has potential to go a little bit quiet on him a couple times a year. I don't know that this is it. Like you said, there's some good matchups. I will go with Shauno because I think that New England Green Bay game goes for like 80 points.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the higher totals this weekend. So the last matchup is you versus Scott, and right now the projections have you as a slight favorite of around 12 points that you're going to beat Scott by, but I actually think it's going to be a bigger margin that you're going to win by because of basically one reason, and that's Scotty starting 2 running backs in tonight's Thursday night game. And usually in games where the point totals are low, you don't really want to start any of those players. And he's got 2 of them in Matt Breida and Doug Martin, and both of those guys aren't workhorse running backs. So, that's going to put him behind the 8 ball, but who knows? I could be eating some crow after tonight's game, but I don't really see it happening. He's going to need Devontae Adams to score 3 touchdowns, although that could happen, and Jared Goff could go off in his matchup with the Saints, but with your team and having most of your guys in there, and I do see you implemented the newly acquired Amari Cooper in there.
Had to.
Had to. I mean, he's not gonna have that great of a game. You do know that, right? He's gonna have. I think he's gonna have a good game where they force feed him the ball on a couple series, but he's not gonna play the entire time. He doesn't know the
I
whole
think he's
playbook.
got. I think he's got a chance to get in the end zone. He did get traded during Dallas's bye week, so he's had more time than most guys get when it comes to a midseason trade, and they desperately need him. So I would disagree with you there. I think he'll play a fairly full complement of snaps.
I'm gonna say 70. I'm gonna say 70% of the snaps.
Yeah, I think I would say that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's it's not the majority. Well, slight majority. Anyway, I digress. I digress. So I'm going to take you because of your three Chiefs players going against the Cleveland Browns. I think they're going to blow them out, and I think you can pretty much just sit on them and win this game. Although I do like Philip Lindsay and on Johnson and Kenny Galladay. So you have about five players that I like their matchups. So that's the reason why I'm going to go with you.
Appreciate that. Preach, man, preach. I did actually just make a roster change that you probably didn't even see. I
I
just
see
saw.
Josh Doxson in there.
No, he was in there. That's very sad that he's in there. He was already in there. I pulled out Marquise Goodwin for Jakeem Grant. Now, I'm not sure that I'll leave Grant in there. There's some other guys I could maybe toss up, but CJ Beathard is active tonight, but serving as the backup. So not good for Marquise Goodwin, a guy that I never really pegged right all year, but was going to use him this week. Can't do that anymore. Some guy I never heard of playing quarterback. So not off to a great start, but as you said, I like a couple of my running backs. Decent matchup for my Chiefs. I will take myself here and firmly plant myself in the middle of this playoff hunt.
And I think we wasted way too much time on a non-factor flex spot with Jakeem Grant, Josh Doxson, and Marquise Goodwin. All right, so that wraps up all of our matchups for this week. So something new, and actually Shauno was the one that said this would be kind of a neat idea, and that is the betting locks of the week. So Doug and I are going to give you guys a couple bets that we feel are pretty much locks, and if we're wrong, we'll for sure hear it from you guys next week. But if we're right, you're for sure going to hear it from us next week as well. So I put down two, and it can go either way. So I like the Chiefs giving 8 points. Now they are playing on the road. They are going to Cleveland, but Cleveland just fired their head coach, fired their offensive coordinator. They're kind of reeling off of a bad game going against the Steelers, and the Chiefs are just rolling. It doesn't matter who they play, they're usually putting up points. So if you want to take a team in regards to the spread, I like the Chiefs at -8. And if you want to take the money line, I like Houston at -100. So it's even money right there. And although they're going to Denver, Denver kind of got worse when it came to losing Demaryius Thomas. I mean, no, we just said that Cortland Sutton could do well, but they lost an offensive weapon, so a lot of times that doesn't help out your offense. Case Keenum sucks, and the Houston Texans, they're on a 5-game win streak. I know you usually don't want to bet into a win streak, but they've won a couple games on the road, with one of those games being at Jacksonville. And although they're not doing all that great, they're still one of the better defenses in the league. Denver doesn't have that great of a defense. I like Houston at even money when it comes to the money line. What do you think?
I am going to disagree with both of those, actually. And as much as I like the Chiefs, this is kind of a funny number at a funny spot. I'll probably stay away, but gun to my head, I would actually take the Browns there, I think. Houston at Denver, another funky line, 5-game winning streak, and they're a pick 'em against like a really shitty Denver team. I'm gonna say both of those are gonna be wrong. I'm sorry, maybe they're not. We'll see. We'll find out next week. The two that I'll give you favorite play on the board is the Chargers. This line opened at, they were actually catching 2, I think. I think it's down to a pick 'em now, so take your side. I think that's easily the best play on the board. Coming off the bye, Bosa back. Chargers are a legit team, and Seattle I don't think is. The other one I'll give you, and you'll like this one, is Pittsburgh catching 2.5, buy it up to 3, sleep like a baby. Baltimore, not as good as they've gotten credit for. The defense has carried them, and it's actually not that good. So Pittsburgh is my second favorite play on the board. And if you want one more, do you want one more, Jay?
I mean, you're just going to give me one more no matter what I say. So go on.
I am going to give you one more. I'll take give me Atlanta. Another funky line. Catching 1 on the road doesn't make any sense, probably because they win.
Don't like the Atlanta one just because Atlanta's a completely different team on the road, and especially going against now a better defense in Washington. Don't like that line at all. I did think about the Steelers one, but didn't want to be considered a homer. I really like that line. And then what was your first one? Oh, the Chargers against Seattle. Yeah. That's. They did open up at, I think, plus 2.5. So it keeps on going down in their favor. So, well, in Seattle's favor. So, yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. I still like my bets, but I do like that Pittsburgh one as well. So, there you go, guys. There goes our betting locks of the week. Love them, hate them. I don't really give a fuck. But you're going to get more of them as the season goes on.
Don't send me an invoice.
Don't send me anything. Actually, if you do win, send me some money in the mail. You know my mailing address, so you know how I do. And is there anything else that you want to leave off with?
That's it, man. Eric Reed didn't punch anybody this week, so I'm good.
So far.
Yeah, that I know of.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So that does it for us. No montage of Dougie's ums this week, and we'll see you guys next week.
Just trying to get better, man.